A lot of people hit a point in their late 20s and late 30s where life looks fine from the outside, but internally something just feels wrong. You're working, you're functioning well, you're doing what you thought you were supposed to do, but there's this underlying feeling of being just a little bit lost. Not lost like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. Just this sense that things aren't as clear as they used to be. You don't feel pulled toward anything. You're just moving forward because that's what you've been doing this whole time. And I'm seeing this loads at the moment, especially now that I'm hitting my late 20s. And this happens more than people think. But it kind of makes sense, right? You go to school, then you go to uni, you have your first job, you work up the ranks, you get a stable relationship, maybe you start a business, and all of this is trying to get your life together. There's always been a next step for you, so you haven't really had to think too much about what you actually want. You just keep going. But eventually you reach a point where the structure drops away and no one is telling you what the next step is supposed to be. And this is when you realise you've become a proper adult. And that's usually where the feeling of being lost starts. A big part of the problem, in my view, is that most people are aiming for success, not meaning. Success has very clear markers: income, job title, fitness, status, independence, amount of followers, having your life sorted. And you know very clearly how you're doing amongst your peers, especially now in the Instagram age. And look, I'm certainly not going to sit here and say they're not important, because they 100% are. And they're important for me too, to a certain extent. But the problem with chasing the markers of success is that they don't automatically give you a sense of direction. You can achieve loads of what you thought you wanted and still feel like there's just something missing. It's like success is telling you how you're doing, but not why you're actually doing it. Okay, if you don't believe me, let's take money as an example. I guarantee you've heard of these men and you likely look up to them in one way or another. And here's what they said about chasing money. First up, Bill Gates, net worth 130 billion US dollars. As I got older, I realized that giving money away was more fulfilling than making it. Money has no utility to me beyond a certain point. Jeff Bezos, net worth 260 billion. Work on something you're passionate about, not just something that makes money. Bezos talks a lot about following curiosity, not just making profit. Steve Jobs, net worth before he died, 10 billion. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful, that's what matters. Steve Jobs repeatedly said that meaning is greater than money. And Elon Musk, net worth 800 billion. I could have just been eating bonbons on a beach, but that sounds incredibly boring. I think it's important to work on things that you think are meaningful. Elon Musk says he never chased money, he chased impact and interesting problems. The question is then, do you have to work a high-paying job you hate until you're 60 to find this lesson out for yourself, and then look back on a meaningless life with regret? Or can you right now realign your life with purpose over the chase of success, and like these men, reap the rewards they bring over the long run? Another reason people feel lost right now is the constant pressure to get life right. There are more options than ever, more information than ever, more comparison than ever. And it creates this feeling that you should be doing something meaningful, something impressive, something that makes sense and pays off long term. The problem is that when you try to figure out your whole life in your head, you usually just go into these circles. You think about what you should do, what you could do, what other people are doing, what might be the best choice, and instead of getting clarity, you just feel more stuck. I love this Tony Robbins quote when he says, if you're in your head, you're dead. Overthinking in this state of stress won't produce clarity. Clarity comes from getting out of your head and connecting with the deeper parts of you. Finding direction usually isn't one big realization. It's a process of paying attention to what gives you a sense of meaning and what drains it, and being willing to adjust it slowly over time. Trying things, noticing what feels right, slowly letting go of things that don't, even if they look good on paper. This requires a slowing down process of being introspective, something driven guys, let's be honest, are shit at. But when life starts to line up with what actually matters to you, the less you have to force yourself to stay motivated, because the direction starts to feel natural instead of something you have to keep convincing yourself of. So no more David Goggins motivational videos to get out of bed every morning. If you feel lost right now, it certainly doesn't mean something is wrong with you. I've been there multiple times throughout my life. It usually just means that the life you've built up to this point doesn't fully match who you are anymore, and you haven't figured out what the next direction is for you yet. And that's a really normal place to be, but it's also a place where it helps to step back and look at things properly instead of just pushing forward blindly. Sticking your head down and locking in will feel good in the moment, but it won't move you from where you are now. That takes doing something different, and that's the kind of work I do with people in coaching, helping them get clear on what actually matters to them and what direction makes sense from there. And if you want help with that, there's a link in the description where you can see if working with me would be a good fit for you.